For the longest time, Imperial Triumphant and I have had a bit of a strained relationship. I'd try to get into their work, open-minded and curious, but every time it felt like I'd walked into a satanic jazz club hosted in an Art Deco subway station. Technical? Sure. Avant-Garde? Absolutely. Enjoyable? Jury's kind of out on that one. It was like listening to a very talented washing machine falling down a staircase. And yet, here I am, several spins deep into their latest album, Goldstar, and I think I might be starting to finally understand the hype. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, my name is Ian, this is Rhyme Signatures, and we are once again opening the lid on the best new releases in prog rock and metal. Okay, so obviously I have a bit of a confession to make. In case that little intro piece didn't make things abundantly clear, I've never really gotten Imperial Triumphant. Like, intellectually, I totally got the appeal. The gilded masks, the mystique, the cocktail jazz meets dystopian retrofuturism, the high-concept leanings that felt like someone smashed together Eraserhead and the stock market crash of 1929. It's cool, okay? Conceptually, I loved them, and I've wanted to enjoy Imperial Triumphant's music for years now. But emotionally, I just bounce off their records like a 2p coin hurled against a freshly skinned drum kit every single time. I'd try again and again every few years, always hoping for that eureka moment, but it just never clicked. I respected the hell out of them, but I just didn't get it. Until now. Because Goldstar, against all odds, has managed to do something no previous record of theirs could. It's made me feel like I am finally part of the experience. So what's changed? Honestly, not that much. At least not on paper, anyway. This is still the same Imperial Triumphant. Unpredictable song structures, suffocating atmosphere, and that trademark blend of jazz, metal, and Wall Street doom. But there is something about the way Goldstar balances its chaos with a newfound clarity that has really captured my imagination this time around. I don't know, maybe it's the pacing. Goldstar feels less like an endurance test and more like an invitation. It's their shortest album to date. It's snappier, more immediate and engaging than before, without compromising or losing sight of their own unique identity. Now don't get me wrong, the tracks are still dense and disorienting, sure, but there's a sense of, I don't know, theatricality here that's more accessible, even fun in its own nihilistic way. Take moments like the mosh-inducing guitar breakdown at the end of Gomorrah Nouveau, or the creepy and haunted-sounding classical parts of Hotel Sphinx, or the drum solo in Pleasure Dome. These are the signs of a band who are having a great time with their own brand, but still keeping things as angular and disconcerting as fans would expect from them. Instead of being completely smothered by dissonance and density, Goldstar plays with space. There are moments where the band actually allows ideas to breathe a little bit, where the arrangements guide you instead of pelting you with brass knuckles made out of weaponized avant-garde. And honestly, this might be the first time I've found the band's bizarre and oddly specific stylization quite charming. Previous albums often, to me at least, felt like they were kind of going out of their way to be the strangest biscuit in the scene. Goldstar is still weird, sure, but in a way that feels less like a posturing peacock and more like a natural extension of their world building. For instance, I love the atmospheric expansion of the interstitial tracks New York City and the title track Goldstar, especially the latter's radio advertisement quality, feeling like something pulled straight out of the film Metropolis. It's a brief little thing, sure, but it goes miles in terms of keeping the mood and theming of the record on track. And it's this theming, this concept of Goldstar, which is another feather in its cap. It feels like a love letter to the grittiness of New York City, the scale, the decadence, the decay. And it carries a sense of, this is what happens when ambition goes unchecked. But Imperial Triumphant does it all with this kind of incredible cinematic flair that transforms what should be an uncomfortable experience into something kind of alluring. What's wild though is how much Goldstar has made me want to revisit the band's older records. You know, the ones I previously not gelled with at all. So after falling kind of in love with this one, I went crawling back to Alphaville and Vile Luxury like an ex-boyfriend who suddenly started reading Sylvia Plath and going to therapy. And while they're still very much the same challenging albums I still remember, I feel like I'm hearing them differently now. It feels like Goldstar has handed me the cipher I've been missing all along, and I can finally hear these albums that so many people have been praising for years. For all of its positive points though, Goldstar is still a difficult album. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, this is not an easy listen. The complexity of the instrumentation, the sheer volume of ideas, and the chaotic, jarring shifts in tonality might make some tracks feel a bit of a sensory overload at times. But, you know, I'll be honest with you, the more I listened, the more I found myself peeling back the layers, and the more I started to understand how intricately these elements were actually being pieced together. That being said, there are still moments where the density of the sound kind of works against it a little bit. At times, the sheer unpredictability of the arrangements can be exhausting, especially during the more experimental passages. It's a fine line between genius and sensory overload, and while Goldstar mostly walks that line quite well, there are a few moments where it feels like the band is perhaps, I don't know, overreaching just for the sake of complexity. Now, this is an album that will absolutely not be for everyone. As with any Imperial Triumphant release, there is a level of pretentiousness here that's kind of impossible to ignore. The avant-garde jazz elements, the black metal riffing, the brass instrumentation, it's all wonderfully self-indulgent, but it can also feel like it's trying to drown you in its own excessive ambition at times. Some listeners will dive headfirst into the madness and find beauty within the chaos. Others will end up, I don't know, just a little bit maybe confused and irritated by the dissonance. I don't know. The lack of traditional structure on this album could also be a barrier for many. Don't expect many catchy choruses or a kind of clear verse, chorus structure, and definitely don't expect any kind of easy to grasp concept. But honestly, I don't know, I'm feeling that maybe that's part of the appeal now. Perhaps this is the point after all? Perhaps in my advancing years I've just become more attuned to their particular brand of architectural sonic madness, or maybe this record is just that bit more generous in how it delivers its chaos. Either way, I've been finding myself genuinely excited to revisit this, which is honestly a sentence I never thought I'd be saying about Imperial Triumphant. So, what else can I possibly say about Imperial Triumphant's Goldstar? Look, the honest truth is, when I approached this record, I wasn't expecting to enjoy this, given that I've historically always struggled to wrap my head around Imperial Triumphant. And while I won't say that it's completely converted me to the cause, it's certainly made me stop in my tracks and reconsider the band in a light I was never expecting to. Goldstar isn't just a great album, it's a weirdly welcoming one, in its own baroque, opulent and terrifying kind of way, of course. It's the sound of a band who have finally figured out how to let people into their sinister Art Deco skyscraper sound without compromising what makes them so compelling in the first place. So, whether you're a long-time believer or a baffled newcomer like I was, this one's still worth checking out. Recommendation here ultimately is to grab a digital copy of this one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a back catalogue to reacquaint myself with. This is all, of course, guys, just my opinion, so if you love this one, if you hated this one, please talk to me about your experience with Goldstar in the comments down below. Please do drop me a thumbs up if you liked the video, please do tell all your friends about little old me, and please do consider subscribing to the channel if you've been enjoying my own particularly irreverent brand of content creation. But until next time, guys, as always, keep your rhyme signatures pretty odd.